most difficult NBA matchup for Wemby?
Just out of knowledge, it's Draymond Green.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go.
What's up, Spurs Alley? It's your boy Chris, back with episode number 3. Thanks for joining me today. We have a few things that I want to go over. Number one, we're going to go over what you saw in the beginning of the video, and that was Chris Carlin, ESPN's fill-in for First Take, talking about Draymond Green being Wembanyama's most difficult matchup in the NBA. And you're going to hear what Draymond has to say on how he would guard Wemby. Of course, you're going to get my thoughts on that, but also who I think will be Wembanyama's most difficult matchup. We'll then move on to the actual Spurs roster, what they have right now, and we're going to figure out who could possibly be Wemby's running mate. Just because Wemby's 7'5" doesn't mean he's automatically going to be our center. So we're going to see what kind of matchups that we can create and see if we can actually have some fun with that. Last thing, we're going to finish with our Rivals Watch. We're going to see what the Grizzlies, Mavs, Pelicans, Rockets are doing, and we'll finish off with the bitch-ass Lakers. Let's get this started. Let's give Carlin a chance. Maybe I'm being a little hard on the guy. I really doubt it. But let's see what else he has to say in regards to his explanation for why he thinks Draymond Green is going to be the toughest matchup for Wembanyama in the NBA.
What is the most difficult NBA matchup for Wemby?
Just out of knowledge, it's Draymond Green. And everybody's going to Draymond right now, which it just seems silly to even say this when Draymond's 6'6" and this guy's 7'5". But this is just all about knowledge. This is all about getting into somebody's head. It's not even just, aggressive shots to the body and things like that.
Okay, so what you just saw right there was Carlin explaining that just on knowledge alone, it's Draymond, and that everybody's saying this. First of all, Draymond, yes, he's good, but this is the guy that left his Warriors team hanging dry when he kicked that player in the balls against the Cavaliers. He steps on Domantas Sabonis, gets suspended for that game. So what kind of knowledge are you talking about? Because he seems like he's trying to be more of an annoyance to the other team. Now, he also said that he even felt a little stupid for saying something like a 7'5" guy is going to be controlled by a 6'6" guy. Well, you should feel stupid, because that sounds really dumb. Go with your gut. That's not a good take. Why would a 6'6" guy be the toughest matchup for Wembanyama? It doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see what else he had to say.
It's just the understanding of how to defend a player. And Draymond's already been asked about this. He's been talking about it on his podcast and other places.
So recently, Draymond did speak on this exact subject with Paul George on his podcast. Let's take a look at that clip.
But some of the shit that I've seen, we're not letting him do that in the NBA.
But you're not just dribbling through me like the Harlem.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I saw some of that. Some of the stuff was just like, come on, bro. Like, I think I'm a good player. And special talent. Like, to even be able to do some of the stuff he was doing, it takes a very special at that size.
Right.
Very special talent. But you gotta press up into him.
Mm-hmm.
You can't let him get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
If you let him get comfortable, you lose
Mm-hmm.
because you're not blocking his shot. He may not even see your contest.
Right.
He's 7'5",
Right.
and he shoot the ball up here.
Right.
He may not even see your contest. So you have to, with a guy like that, I feel you got to do your work crowding. You know what I'm saying? I'm crowding him from the time he start running up and down the court. When they get the rebound and they start coming out, I'm crowding him.
Yeah.
Because I can't let him get to a space where he's comfortable, where he's going to get to that space and do what he want to do. You can't.
That was Draymond Green talking on how he's going to guard Wemby, which wasn't really something that was super creative because he really has no choice. The man's 6'6" and Wemby's 7'5". So what else is he going to do? He's going to have to make sure to crowd him and not let Wemby get to his best spots on the floor. I did see this already being used against Wemby when he played in the French League Finals. In the last few minutes, he was being pushed around, and they didn't let him get to his comfort zone. And so what happened was he would throw up some off-balance shots, and he looked really bad in those last few minutes, and they ended up losing. Draymond is a great defender. He is still going to give Wembanyama some trouble when they play against each other. But being 6'6" against 7'5", and that being the only tactic that you have really to stop him, I don't know what Chris Carlin is thinking. I just think maybe he's believing all the hype and just chugging the hell out of the Draymond Green Kool-Aid. There is another player out there that's going to be giving Wemby a much harder time. And that player is going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. This man is a 6'11", 240-pound defensive monster. If anyone can get to Wemby, at least bother him in his jump shot, it's the Greek Freak. I mean, this guy can jump out the gym and he can just push Wemby anywhere he wants right now. I really don't see how Wemby's going to be able to score on him if they're locked down one-on-one. Wemby is going to have to get crafty, but Giannis is just so strong and so agile. He's going to definitely be the one to give Wembanyama the most trouble. Now, moving on to the next segment. We did talk about Wemby being at the number 5 spot, with Jeremy at the 4 and Keldon Johnson at the 3. But is that really in the best interest for Wemby? I really think there is a player out there that's going to be giving Wemby a much better chance to develop in his first season in the NBA. Let's go ahead and take a look at the roster. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me again on Spurs Alley. I'm your host, Chris, and we're not going to talk about Wembanyama's front court partner because a lot of speculation has been already made about Jeremy Sohan being at the number 4 and Wemby at the 5. Now, what this does is it creates one of our best lineups with Keldon Johnson at the 3, Devin Vassell at the 2, and either Trey Jones or Devontae Graham at that point guard position. Now, what I like about this is that it's fast. It creates a lot of defensive havoc. We can switch so many players. That really is positionless basketball right there. And that, I think, is what we're going to play for a lot of the nights. And a lot of the starting lineups will have Jeremy at the 4 and Wemby at the 5. However, I think there's another player out there that we should really consider, and maybe the Spurs are really thinking about in Wemby's development. And that player is Zach Collins. Zach Collins has everything that you need in a center. He's tough. He's good with the low post moves. He can also stretch the floor and shoot the 3. He can rebound. He has a bit of a mean streak at times. So those are all qualities that Wemby doesn't really have as far as the toughness and the low post moves that Zach has. Zach is going to be able to take a lot of pressure off of Wemby. And let me tell you how. Whenever those big guys come into town, guys like Joel Embiid, the Joker, Anthony Davis, these guys are not going to take it easy on Wembanyama. So what do we have to do? We have to put in Zach Collins. He's going to be the one that's going to try to take all that punishment. He's going to be the one doing all that dirty work, letting Wemby be his best self, which is lurking, helping on the weak side defense, getting into passing lanes. Zach Collins is much more important than we all think. Just because Jeremy Sohan and Keldon Johnson are really good and they started and played a lot, that was more out of necessity than because of their talent. This is going to be, I think, more of a Zach Collins Wemby situation, starting in the front court with either Keldon Johnson or maybe even Jeremy Sohan at that 3. That's where I think it's going to be the best for Wemby, having him be at that number 4 spot and not worry about taking on the biggest guys on the other team, because he's not really built for that, and he's not going to be able to hold his own if he has to have anyone back him up. Now, another thing that Zach Collins brings to the table is that toughness I mentioned, but not only that toughness, that mean streak. Look at these clips right here. I mean, Zach will take on a whole team. He's right there. He was taking on Dylan the villain. Right here, one of the Morris brothers gives him a crazy foul. And Zach's not going to just put up with it. Yeah, he's going to tell him, get the fuck off me. He doesn't like it. That was a stupid foul to begin with. Another thing is that he's not going to be disrespected. Zach doesn't like the look that Porter gives him after that dunk. And he's going to tell him about it. He's going to get in his face and he's not going to be just taking a disrespect from anyone. That's what Zach brings to the table as well, apart from his skill set. He brings that toughness. And what is he going to do with Wemby? He's going to protect him. Look at this. With another player back in his Portland days, the Joker didn't like what he did. And here comes Zach. Isn't even part of the play, but tells him to shut the fuck up. That's what we need to help Wemby. Yes, Sohan is also going to do those same things, but Zach is more the enforcer. And Zach's going to be the one that's going to be in anyone's face trying to intimidate Wemby. So Zach Collins, much more important than what anybody is giving him credit for. He's going to be vital to Wemby's development. So now that we went over who the Spurs X Factor is going to be, let's go ahead and take a look at our rivals and see what they're up to. And now on to the last part of the show. We're going to talk about our rivals. First, let's cover our division rivals. Number 1, the Rockets. What have they been doing recently? Well, they just completed a trade to send away Kenyon Martin Jr. for 2 second-round picks, which is actually not bad. Second-round picks are worth more now with the new CBA. You'll be able to trade them to contending teams, and they can fit under the cap a lot easier with those second-round pick contracts. So that's a pretty good move for them. Also, you have them finishing in the Summer League. Well, actually, they're not finished. They're in the semifinals. So we know what that means, which is absolutely nothing. The Summer League is just practice, and it's good for their development. It's good for their confidence, maybe, but that's about it. It doesn't really translate over to having a monster season in the regular NBA. So Rockets, let's see if they can finish off and actually bring home that Summer League title. For the Mavericks, they've been pretty quiet after they got Grant Williams. They've been standing pat pretty much. They did make a lot of draft day moves and were able to actually maneuver themselves to get into a decent spot for this next year. They're actually trying to get Clint Capella. Clint Capella is the Hawks center, and so when they're trying to get in the Pascal Siakam sweepstakes there, if that trade works out, they're trying to maneuver their way into that trade somehow, maybe in a 3-team deal, or once Pascal is traded, they can go ahead and snag up Capella from the Hawks. So that's a possibility that can happen for the Mavs. I hope it doesn't happen, because that would be actually a really good pickup if they fill up that center position for Luka. For the Pelicans right now, they're just in a little bit of a wait and sit and see what happens with Zion. They had to sign him to that big contract, as I talked about in some previous episodes, and that's because they had to. They can't lose Zion for nothing. He's their number 1 pick. He can still get you some players, but they're not so stuck on keeping him as the franchise piece anymore. It seems they may be kind of opening up to the idea of trading Zion, not only because he hasn't played in the past 4 years, he barely played any games, maybe about 80, but he's also having a lot of off-court drama. We're not going to get into what it is. You can look it up yourself, but it doesn't look good for Zion. It doesn't look good for the Pelicans, and that could be something that could really brew up to be something very interesting for the Pelicans. The Grizzlies, they're pretty much done wheeling and dealing. They haven't been linked to any other trade rumors or any other free agency pickups. They're really just waiting on Ja Morant and what's going to come about from the civil case. I've read that he's actually trying to get it dismissed, so we'll see how that turns out. For the Summer League, they've actually had a pretty big splash by Kenny Lofton Jr. He's had some really good games. Last year, he also made some noise, and this year, he wants to contribute. He's come out and said that he wants to play, he wants to have more minutes, and if the Grizzlies don't find any minutes for him, I think another team will. And remember, Kenny Lofton Jr. was that same player that was bodying up on Wemby when they were both under the 16 and under, I believe, championships. And so that's going to be interesting to see whenever Wemby and Kenny Lofton meet up again. For the Lakers, let's see what they're up to now. Now, the Lakers are looking for a center. They recently picked up Jackson Hayes, and we're trying to pick up another center for Willie Hernan Gomez. However, he decided that he's done with the NBA, at least for the foreseeable future, and he decided to sign with FC Barcelona. So he's back to playing in Europe, leaving the Lakers high and dry. They're still looking for that third center. And the word on the street is that they're trying to replicate that 2020 season when they had a second big man next to AD, where he would be there to help protect the rim, be there for lobs. And so once they pick up that last center, they should be done with their offseason moves. So, I mean, what do you think? Is that a good strategy? Should they start replicating that 2020 run? We'll have to see when they start the season. That wraps up episode number 3 in Spurs Alley. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll make sure to catch you on the next one.
I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way.